Hello, it's me, Troy. Welcome to the first day of Vlogmas, or this year's Vlogmas. This year, I wanted to do something a little bit different because, well, as you probably know, this year I don't have a product to pitch to you and advertise to you like an advent calendar because, well, we didn't make one this year, and I don't work at Belfast anymore. So, and I thought, to try to get my ass in gear and get reorganized for the new year and get reorganized so that way I can, uh, do well in my classes and all of that, as I've been saying for the last little while. I wanted to organize my closets and reorganize my room and kind of just like reorganize everything to make this a better space for me to actually work in and to help kind of like make those delineations between workspace, work time, because what I've found, and I knew this of myself, that when I was working from home, working for a call center back in my youth, there almost a decade ago here now, I got to the point where because my workspace became my bedroom at one point when I was living in that space, that whenever I had the opportunity to fall asleep on the couch, I would. Because I really needed to have that like delineation between work and play, and my bedroom also worked as my playroom, as in like where I kept my computers and stuff. And this was just as I was getting into doing crafting. So I didn't have much crafting to get into. I did a lot of drawing back then. But now I've been finding that I've been just doing a lot of my work on the couch here in the apartment. So when I'm editing the podcast, when I'm doing patterns or writing or whatever, it's there on the couch. And then like when I'm done for the day, and I sit on the couch in the afternoon or in the evening for me to just work on whatever I want to work on or just watch TV and veg out, it doesn't really feel any different. So I wanted to try to make this space work better for me so I can use it as kind of like, this is my me time room. So that way, yeah, sure, I can sleep in it, but like this is where I go to work on homework, where I go to work on patterns, so I have less distractions, where I can edit podcasts, things like that, and of course shoot the podcast because that's what I've been using my bedroom mostly for, other than sleeping, is just shooting podcasts. So anyway, without further ado, the first thing we're going to tackle is this closet. Don't judge me. So this is my crafting and storage closet, I guess. Really, most of it's in here is crafting supplies. And there's a lot of things that I don't really know what they are. And I forget how much I have in here. So just like as an overview, I've got my old point of sale system that I had in my store up here. This is a square system, the type that you plug an iPad into, and you can turn it around and swivel it. So that way people can write and tap and whatever they need to do to pay for products. This is my old, that's my old cash thing. I've got stockings up top. I've got a knitting pattern up top. I don't know if you can see quite that high. I've got some I got my ball winder up here, and I've got like cutlery that we don't need. And then on this shelf here, I've just got a whole bunch of different things. I've got some knitting pattern books here. I've got a box of blank Christmas cards. I've got my knitting machine. I've got my vacuum sealer. I don't think you can see it behind the door here, but I've got a sewing project just hanging out here, pins in it, not in a bag, just hanging out there. There's a popcorn glass making machine thing there. And this, I just got just a bunch of stuff. I've got my foot forms. I've got some spinning fiber and a stuffing fiber. I've got my blocking boards. I've got my tags. I've got a steamer. I've got some blocking stuff. Behind here, I've got a casserole dish. So there's not really any rhyme or reason in any of this. And some of these boxes, like this one, I think has sewing stuff in it. I've got another box over here that I think has paint and epoxy for making dungeon dice, like Dungeons and Dragons dice, like those kind of dice sets. And then this box came from my old store, and it looks like I've got manila envelopes and something else in it. And I got some just bags hanging out there, and I've got some, yarn hanging out here. So what I'm going to do today and over probably the next few days is I am going to be recording, next few days for you guys. I'm going to tackle this all this afternoon and split it up into bite-sized pieces for you. But anyway, over the next few days for Vlogmas, I'm going to be sorting this space out. And then as I get further along, I will show you the rest of the bedroom, as it were. So let's get started. Oh, God. Where do I even start? So how I typically do this kind of organization is I clear off a shelf and then I decide what needs to go on that shelf. So obviously the top shelf is going to be filled with stuff that I don't need access to on a day-to-day basis. And then as I continue to clear off shelves and go through the rest of the shelves to see what needs to be moved, I will be doing that. All right, so I've zoomed past that because I'm sure that stuff isn't that exciting. So all I did is I just kind of like packed everything up a little bit higher because like we've got pretty high ceilings in here, and like I still got probably a good 1.5 feet of space behind here going all the way up to the ceiling, so I can pack them pretty high. I went and got my old yoga mats that have been sitting in the back of a closet that are too hard to reach for me to use them on a daily basis. So hopefully putting them in here makes them more accessible and makes me want to go do yoga again. Let's not kid ourselves here. Christmas time is for the time to eat bread, get fat, and sassy. Anyway, so let's move on to, I'm going to move on to the next meat. I still have some stuff on the floor because I think this next shelf, I'm going to revamp it so that way it's more about like my Etsy store. So like I'm going to keep everything that I need to pack everything together, get rid of some of these books because I put all this stuff here when I didn't have a bookcase in. Now that I do. So I'm going to go and take care of that. And this is why I wanted to reorganize it because that happens. And this is this prevents me from opening the door easily. Like it's sliding across it. So, while going through this, I thought it might be fun to show you what I've got hidden in this closet, actually. So on here, under a bunch of other stuff, I have a bunch of old pattern books and an old like clipboard of patterns that I have for different hats, different mittens, just random stuff that I printed off, planning on doing them when I had my old store. So this is Knits and Notes in Montague when I had that. And just a bunch of stuff that I never got around to using. I have a bunch of these patterns books that I used to sell in my store. So like this was the Next Steps series where like steps 1 through I think it's 8 or 9, you can learn how to make different steps. So steps 4 was all about socks and slippers using patterns yarn. And then I also had some of these books that were like made for specific yarns that they have or had. I don't know if they still make silk bamboo. You can probably still find it because it was expensive for patents. Then they also have Socks in the City, which I've never done any of those. This is a pattern keeper. Yeah, pattern keeper that had magnets in it. So this is, whoops. And then this one's really cute. So this is Greetings from Knit Care. This is a book that an old high school teacher of mine bought for me when she heard that I opened my store. So she had already moved away from Prince Edward Island at the time, but she heard through the grapevine that I opened up a knitting store in Montague. And this teacher's name was Peggy Flynn. We called her Ms. Flynn. And she was my French teacher through grade 11 and, well, she was my French teacher in grade 10 and grade 12. And then she taught me grade 10 history in grade 11 because I didn't take grade 10 history until then. Yeah, and she wrote me a little note. She got her husband to she got her husband to drop it off to me, saying, "Hello, Troy." Oh, sorry, it was the McNerney's that dropped it off to me, not her husband. I thought it was her husband. No, her husband to drop it off to me. Anyway, so the McNerney's, which is another family in Montague that I went to school with one of the sons. uh, and Kathleen McNerney and Peggy Flynn. I think they were friends. But anyway, the McNerneys told me that I owned a knitting store in Montague, and I thought I'd share this book from you from my collection. The inside sleeve says it all. It's delightful, and hopefully your wee shop will become a gathering place for beautiful things that are bought and created. Congratulations. Congratulations, and best of luck, Troy, from Peggy Flynn. Really, really, it was really nice for her to send that to me because I had no idea that she really kept tabs on her students. She was one of those like really, really good teachers that were able to get students that didn't want to be in classes to care about her classes. She was a phenomenal French teacher. She was a really fun history teacher. So I've kind of like held on to this book and this card, which I don't normally hold on to cards because a lot of the time I think cards are just kind of a waste of paper and a waste of money. Because it's just like, hey, here's a sweet little note. Cool. Just say it to my face. Because now I have to go throw this piece of paper out later. But how long do I have to hold this piece of paper before you get... I have a lot of feelings about cards. But I've kept this one in this book because it's a very little card. And it was really nice to see that, after... like this was dated December 2017. I graduated in May of 2006. And I was not in her class, and I don't think I was in her class when I graduated. So I think the last time she taught me was 2005. So 12 years later, she sent me this. So it was really nice of her. So I'm going to go and tuck this back in. And after that little trip down memory lane, I'm going to get back to work. Okay, so I just needed to suck back something to drink. So these, you might be wondering, these are replacement needles for my knitting machine. The brand of knitting machine that I got, which is the Loops and Threads, it's the Michaels brand, there is nothing on the market that explicitly says these are replacement needles for, because unfortunately, I think it's one of those plastic products that are meant to be used until they broke, and then you replace it by buying a whole new product. So I went and saw that on Walmart and on Amazon that they make some of these available. So this is a Walmart brand that I got through Walmart that has the same colors of needles as mine. So I thought that might be useful. And it also has another needle in here, as I'm pointing out. Or as I'm looking at them closer. So I have these just in case I break a needle on my thing. They look to be the same kind and shape. And as I was looking at the Centro ones, they seem to be the same. And for whatever reason, the Centro ones are a lot cheaper than these like universal ones. And they look exactly the same, except the Centro ones are pink. So I have a bunch of replacement needles if I ever need them. So I'm just going to tuck that back in here and get back to sorting. Okay, so oh no. So when I started getting ready to do the Etsy store, I did end up picking up some tags for different stuff. So that's just tags that I've purchased from I'll bring that up closer so you can see it. I don't know. I think they're really cute. So I bought the tags, and then I sat down and I spent ages adding the strings onto them because I had the option of paying, I think, another $8 or $9 to buy string for then me to have to put it on. And I've got so much string. So I just decided to buy myself. So I have made all these tags, and I think I've made them generic enough that I can use them for handspun as well, and any other things that I might put on. So right now I've got these for my hats, but when I upload different items to the Etsy store, which I'm also going to be including some of my handspun because you'll see later on in this series that I've got a lot of hand spun that I just don't know what to use, or I don't know what to do with, and how quickly I'm spinning is faster than how fast I'm knitting it. So I think I'm just going to try to. I'm going to make it available for other people, but I just wanted to show these off because I thought they're really cute. And I think I'm going to be changing how they look the next time. I think I'm going to make them thinner and longer so that way I can fit more stuff on the back. So these will be limited edition, I guess, technically. But I thought they were really cute. So I'll put that up here. Yeah. So I think that's how my next shelf's going to be. So I put my my knitting machine up here. I've got my extra bags for my vacuum sealer, and then I got some extra bags here. And I decided to put like my sock blocking stuff and my sock foot forms here because I will be using those if I ever make socks and put them on the Etsy store. I will be using these to put them up and take pictures of. I'm going to put that stuff here so that way I have that and my sock blockers as well. So my pile here on the floor is getting a little bit bigger. This might have to continue on into the rest of it, but I'm gonna keep working this middle shelf. I think this is going to be where I put like my everyday needs items. So like my steamer. I'm going to move these bags. Just things like this will be my catch-all level. I guess this is where I'll put stuff before it needs to be organized elsewhere. I guess this is going to be my designated doom pile because I don't know if anybody else out there has ADHD. You know, you have those piles in your house where it's just you put something into a bag and then it stays in the bag for the rest of its life. Yeah. So I guess this was probably a good time for me to stop this video off here since I've completed 2 of the tasks and I will get through the other ones there tomorrow. So I hope you join me there tomorrow. Bye, guys.